Employment and Labour Minister Thulas Nxesi has taken the decision to suspend the Thuja Capital Fund's facilitation of the R5 million Unemployment Insurance Fund Labour Activation Programme. The legitimacy of the Thuja Capital Fund has been under scrutiny due to its lack of paper trail or online presence. The Congress of South African Trade Unions, or COSATU, is now calling for the UIF to be placed under administration. We speak to COSATU's Parliamentary Coordinator, Matthew Parks. Matthew, thank you very much for joining us. What were you told about the Thuja Capital Fund project controversy?
What we've been told is what we've seen from the media, what we've been able to uncover from our workers at the UIF and the PIC, and it's quite alarming. Basically, the UIF wanted to give a R5 billion cash donation to a company which doesn't exist on paper, a company which is not registered with the Company and Intellectual Property Commission or with SARS as far as we are aware, a company which has no track record of any activity as far as we are aware. Equally, it was quite alarming that we were told that this company is not going to contribute any capital itself, any actual contribution itself. It's solely relied upon the UIF to give it a R5 billion donation. We are told, is refusing to disclose who will its partners be, which banks is it going to partner with, etc. So to us, it appears to be a bogus investment company. It's also quite alarming to us is that we were told that the UIF adjudication committee, which assesses the criteria of any applicants, any business or investment opportunities, said this thing is not worth investing in. The PIC, which is the Public Investment Corporation, which invests on behalf of the UIF, also advised against doing this. So for us, it's quite alarming that despite this rejection by the relevant authorities in the UIF and the PIC, that the senior management of the department and the UIF decided to overturn that and said, let's proceed with it. We are told there's a significant rush to invest in it. And for us, that's quite alarming because it's not the first time we've seen real red flags being raised around the UIF investments. We've seen previously where billions were lost to some shelf company, apparently in the UK, where money was transferred and it just disappeared. Some company called the Bounty Trading Company. We've seen previously where monies at the UIF have been lost to Daybreak Farms. So I think for us it's really quite concerning because the UIF is not government funds, which itself would be worrying. The UIF is a contribution-based scheme by workers and by employers who contribute money for the sole purpose of protecting workers in the event they lose their jobs or they're retrenched or dismissed, or whatever might happen, to have some money to be able to take care of themselves whilst they look for other work. It is also there for mothers who go on maternity leave and the employer doesn't contribute the full salary, or for fathers or other non-birth parents who go on parental leave. And yet we see a very cavalier attitude by some in the UIF on how to manage these funds. And again, there's a consequence. When we had the country under economic lockdown in 2020, 2021, at one stage we ran out of money at the UIF, so we were told. Yet again, we see a rush to invest in very suspect, bogus companies time and again. It's also quite worrying that we are told the chairperson of this company, or the owner of this company, if you can call it a company, is also the chair of an entity which falls under the Department of Labour. And apparently his business partner was his son. So I think for us it's quite worrying. If people want to invest, make money, enrich themselves, that's fine. Let them go to a normal commercial bank. Let them not go to workers' funds, which are raised specifically to protect workers, not to enrich a politically connected elite, which, to be honest, doesn't have much moral scruples when it comes to investments.
We understand that COSATU has met with the Employment and Labour Minister Thulas Nxesi on 2 occasions. So when it comes to Thuja Capital, what is that R5 million donation for? Are you aware?
Sure. So in fact, a small correction, actually a big correction. It's not R5 million, it's R5 billion, which is what makes it even more alarming. It's a huge, huge amount. And it comes against the context of state capture and corruption across the state. We've not been briefed by the Department of Labour on this issue, but we are pleased that subsequent to our raising alarm bells to the article appearing in the media and the Sunday Times, the minister has acted to suspend this project. We don't think that goes far enough. We have met the minister, the DG, the commissioner previously. We've raised concerns to the presidency that we've been having this discussion since 2020. The systems at the UIF are not fit for purpose. That's why we saw time and again that we're told systems are in place. The integrity checks and balances are there, and relatively they're not. We have been told in March 2020 the systems at the UIF are integrated with the government public service payroll, with SARS, with NSFAS, with the SASSA, social security systems, etc. And then 8 months later, we saw that, in fact, when the Auditor General investigated, there are some public servants who are getting UIF payments when they shouldn't have been getting it. There are some persons who are not entitled to UIF benefits who are claiming it, sometimes students. And again, it points to archaic systems. And we can have these discussions time and again, like we're having with the Department of Labour, with the Minister, with the Commissioner. It's not resolving it. I think for us to get a sense of confidence, we think the UIF needs to be put under administration. We need to get credible external experts, be it from SARS, be it from the Government Technical Advisory Centre, from wherever, to come and identify where are the problems in the UIF, what are the systems breakdowns, and develop a new, proper, fit-for-purpose, modernized system. Because otherwise, we're going to be having this discussion every single week when we see new scandals on the Sunday Times or whichever newspaper, and it's not going to give confidence to society. You're going to find if you don't address this situation quickly, workers and employers are going to start refusing to contribute their UIF monies to the state and are going to invest it in a private bank account, for example, as they have done in municipalities when residents feel that municipalities cannot be trusted with their funds. We want to avoid that kind of a situation. But right now, we don't feel the UIF and the Department of Labour are taking our issues seriously, and we really need to take our drastic actions. And government should also better be aware that we have an election in 12 months' time or 14 months' time. Voters are looking to the government to see, does it deal with issues of corruption and malfeasance sufficiently, or is it treating it with kid gloves? And I think for us, if we're going to continue down this road, it's going to send a very worrying signal to the public at large, and we don't want to see that situation developing further.
And that's just it, right? How effective is it to merely just place it under administration? You pointed out a number of problems and irregularities that have been taking place over a period of years. These archaic systems that you speak of as well. So this drastic action, what role can the public play, especially to your point that this is monies that would ordinarily go to women who are pregnant and who are taking maternity leave, etc., etc.?
Yeah. So I think for us, we have to go through to get to the heart of the problem. There's no point of saying, okay, in this investment, this is the problem, and this investment, that has a problem. We've been having those discussions, and yet again, every single week, we see more problems arising. We see also at the same time the consequence to workers. When workers have to queue at the UIF offices and across our provinces for days on end. We've seen again time and again when workers submit their claims, be it online or be in person, and they take months, sometimes even years to receive the payments. Equally, employers are also frustrated by this. So I think for us it's about now, let's get to the heart of the problem. And the heart of the problem is an issue of an archaic system which is not fit for purpose. This is what allows people, be it in the UIF, be it in the private sector or wherever, to dip their hand in the cash till. And until you have a modernized, transparent system which is foolproof, we're going to have this problem. It's not that difficult an issue to resolve. The South African Revenue Service deals with far more complex calculations, large amounts of money, yet somehow it has been largely immune from issues of corruption and wasteful expenditure over the recent past. Because you put in place a competent management, you've invested in the system, you've invested in the staff training, the IT capacity. So basically saying, let's do the same thing with the UIF. It's a far smaller entity, should be much quicker to fix, but seemingly we've been going around in circles for the past few years, and I think for us it's enough is enough. The president needs to intervene. He needs to hear the frustration of workers, not just in COSATU, but across the society, the frustration of employers. And let's finally address the situation. But we shouldn't be continuing to kick the can down the road and then be surprised why every single week we see which politically connected person is dipping his hand into the petty cash.
COSATU's Parliamentary Coordinator, Matthew Parks, thank you.